And welcome to Illini Drive, your destination for Illini sports right here on WPGU 1071. Ori Benatar back in the house with Will Gerard, Jake Hassan, Tommy Polson, and Jade Hilton.
I love it when you say my name first.
Not sure how I feel about that.
What?
That in the house.
Back in the house?
I don't know. It felt weird.
Why?
I don't know.
People say that all the time. Back in the house. You have to get back to your house, you know.
Sorry, I forgot you're 50 at heart.
No, not even close. Maybe 40.
You're right, 60.
Okay, fine. Anyways, we're back here. We're going to talk a little Illini football, basketball, and then we'll shift to some baseball and some other stuff. Let's lead off with some Illini football here as the Illini losing to Rutgers 35-24. Illinois now on a 4-game losing streak, 2-4 on the season. Pretty much the consensus from every single person is that this is rock bottom for Illinois. It can't get any worse than this. Is that true, Jake?
Tank job. Tank's on, even though there's nothing to tank for. But, yeah, they're not winning a game the rest of the season.
I don't know about that.
I think
That
they
be
might win one
overreaction.
more. Yeah, that's what I've been saying. They might win one more. The only game that I could see them maybe being a favorite again is Indiana, maybe Northwestern. Those to me are their next two games that are somewhat winnable because next up's Minnesota, who looks pretty good.
I feel like we'll show up for Northwestern. That's kind of like the rivalry game, you know. I feel like we'll show up for Northwestern. We'll show up for Indiana. We'll show up for Purdue. Maybe Ohio State still. My Chase Crouch will come back from tight end and plant the flag in the middle of the O.
But I mean, come on, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Purdue, Indiana, Ohio State, Northwestern. It's probably going to be Indiana because I feel like Northwestern, it's just going to be like one of those, again, like just a heartbreaker one. Because after losing to Rutgers, I'm not putting anything past this team.
I think it's fair to say we won't be favored in any more games. I don't think that we won't win anymore. I think we'll get at least one more. I think it'll be Northwestern. Just because, I don't know, I want us to beat Northwestern so bad, I guess that could even be why. But, like,
I'll say Indiana just because it's, like, Dad's Day, and I feel like they'd show up for whatever. Because you have that, like, weird motivation on your side. You know, it's like when a mascot dies or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I think when
That's a
I
weird
think the
comparison.
Michigan.
You know what?
Yeah, some dads are showing up to the game, same as, like, your mascot dying.
It's just like one of those motivational.
Oh, yeah, our
things.
tiger that's been here forever is dead. Oh, but our dads are here. That's the same thing.
I still don't.
They won
get
on
it.
Dad's Day last year.
Why
so.
can't it just be two parents' weekends? Why is it Dad's weekend and then Mom's?
I mean,
weekend?
as far as I know, like people I know, like both their parents come anyway.
That's what
so,
I'm saying.
like,
Every
both
time
my parents will be here.
Yeah, that's what
Same thing.
That's what it is. It's basically a parents' weekend. But anyway, more about the game that we saw and just kind of the things that are going to happen with Illini football. I mean, besides the fact that they lost to Rutgers, a lot of key players are injured. No more Mike Epstein. Tony Adams might be out for the whole season, too. We didn't see Pat Nelson play at safety. Christian DeLauro came out of the game at one point. Nick Allegretti got injured at one point. You know, this Illini team is battered and bruised. It's, without Mike Epstein, how's that rushing attack? Because the one thing that, I mean, you got to play Kendrick Foster. You got to play Kendrick Foster. You have to. Why isn't he getting carries?
It's him. I mean, Bonner looked all right. He looks solid.
Bonner is fine. He's the number one, but
you can only plow over defenders so many times. Like,
I mean, he could always just be like little Oklahoma AP, just smacking dudes. I'm not against that.
I mean, it'd be fun to watch, but there's only so many times you can do that. Like,
yeah, he's not as versatile as a guy like Kendrick or Epstein was. I don't know. It's not an easy solution. I think that it's got to be Kendrick, but. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see who else they toss out there and get the majority of the carries, and especially the little screens and stuff like that that Epstein was kind of starting to get used to. But I don't know. Maybe they'll throw Dudek back there in the backfield for some little screens, things like that. I don't think that's the worst option.
Yeah, but we haven't been seeing that. The play calling is so just not
play
consistent,
calling's been disgusting.
Random. It's just. No, it just seems like there's no plan on offense. It's just kind of, let's just run on first, then 2nd and 8, let's just do a big play action throw. I'm just not seeing it from the offense. But you know what? A real bright spot, Ricky Smalling is starting to play like a 4-star recruit that Lovie Smith got here. 5 catches, 111 yards, a touchdown. He was hopping up and getting balls. George Jr. proved that he has a rocket with those 2 late touchdown drives, 308 yards, a career high. But still, his decision-making needs a lot of improvement, whether he's throwing it way downfield for 50 yards and then he just throws basically a blind throw for an interception. I mean, I think if George Jr. starts to eliminate those interceptions, the Illini will be in games throughout if he keeps turning the ball over as much as he has. Again, 12 interceptions in 199 career throws.
Yeah,
once you
not
get
great.
once you get rid of that though, George Jr. is a solid option at quarterback.
He's got like so many good physical tools to be like a good pocket passer. Like, I don't want to. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Jeff George Jr. is going to the NFL, but like to be like a prototypical NFL offense, you kind of look for like the things that he has aside from the turnovers, and like just that being said, like they get the right plays called, he eliminates those big throws that he probably shouldn't be doing, makes smarter decisions. He could be pretty good.
We've talked about it too, though. I mean, he matched 2 interceptions with 2 touchdowns. I mean, it's just a matter of everyone else showing up too. Because if you go even with touchdowns and interceptions, like that's not that bad. You can work around that. But I mean, the rushing game's gone way down, and the defense hasn't been showing up either, like we saw earlier in the year.
Yeah, going to the defense, I think the biggest thing to mention in this game is how Lovie Smith did not go with Trey Watson and Del'Shawn Phillips at the beginning of the game at linebacker. Jimmy Marquise, a walk-on, led the team in tackles with 9, along with Stanley Green, who actually played an okay game, forced a fumble. But a lot of interesting personnel decisions from Lovie Smith. He's playing all of his guys. Trey Watson and Del'Shawn Phillips didn't recruit them, but I think those are the best guys at linebacker, and they are leaders for the team. They improve the team a lot. That's what a lot of people in the media were saying after the game. We were a little confused why Trey Watson wasn't playing at the beginning, because he just adds that guaranteed tackle. You need a linebacker who if they're going to get to the running back, they're probably going to tackle them. Illinois was missing so many tackles on the Rutgers running backs, which, by the way, the first 2 Rutgers rushing touchdowns were by backup kick returners who don't actually play running back. Their number 1 running back, Gus Edwards, looked like a monster out there. 93 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was breaking a ton of tackles. So what's with the personnel decisions? To me, I'm confused by those.
Yeah, I'm with you. It doesn't really make sense, and especially when you look at Phillips' stats. I mean, in the first 3 games alone, he had 32 tackles. And then outside of that, I mean, obviously you've seen some declines as we've gotten to the Big Ten, but I mean, he only had 1 in this week, and for a guy who you've seen make an impact, such as in the first game, he had 16 tackles. I mean, when you have a guy like that on your team, you don't want him sitting on the bench.
I mean, you said, Ori, though, like it's Lovey's starting to play his guys. Like, is this just a matter of him trying to see what he's got for the future? I mean, because like we said, this season's done. I mean, you're not going to go anywhere unless barring a miracle run. So is this just a Lovey seeing what he's got for year 3, year 4?
I mean, partially that, and I think that's an okay thing to do, but at the same time, linebacker is one of those positions for Illinois where guys who Lovey had on the team when he became the coach have probably better talent than the guys that he brought on the team, like Marquise and Shongbonyo. Bennett Williams didn't play very much either, but Trey Watson and Del'Shawn Phillips do have that talent. But also, while Ricky Smalling was the star on offense, shout out to James Crawford on defense. He had 2 fumble recoveries. He forced a fumble, got himself a sack. He played a really, really good game and was able to somewhat stop that Rutgers offense. I mean, when you look at the Rutgers stats, Giovanni Rossino, their quarterback, was 5 of 10 for 89 yards. No touchdowns, no interceptions. And when you initially look at what happened between the 2 quarterbacks, even with the 2 interceptions from Jeff George Jr., you initially think Illinois probably won this game if you didn't know the score. I mean, 89 passing yards on 10 attempts, but compared to 289 rushing yards for Rutgers, though, you can't give up nearly 300 rushing yards and expect to win the game. And even if you do 3 forced fumbles from Illinois' defense is also an achievement. Their defense has been able to force a lot of fumbles this year, but can't give up that many rushing yards. You got to be able to tackle guys, and that also brings up the question about tackling in practice and all of that, but man, it was a disappointing showing, to say the least, from the Illini. A lot of people expected this to be a win. I did not think it was going to be an Illinois blowout. I thought it would be a close game, but I did not think Rutgers was going to dominate them for basically 3 quarters. Anyone?
Yeah, I mean, you covered all the bases.
Yeah.
That pretty much covers it. I mean, to say they were going to win was something that was pretty standard, like across campus, across what everyone was saying, and then to see them lose by 11, like, it's just, what more can you say? Like, it's just disappointing, and it's just kind of how the season has gone after the hopeful start to the season that we had, and now this is where we're at.
Yeah.
Remember week 2 when we were saying,
right. That's what I was
going
going to say.
Bowl game, yeah.
Yeah, we were saying bowl games. We were going to say they would be so hot they'd give Ohio State and Wisconsin a run for their money, and now
I think that still might happen.
and now it's just like we lost by 11 to Rutgers, and it's just kind of what more can you say? Like, there's
Yeah.
always 2018.
And it's also unfortunate that the national attention that we got from this game was from a play that really shouldn't have happened. Carmoni Green making that muff punt. It was bouncing around. I mean, it's one of the worst plays you'll ever see on a football field, and I just feel bad for the guy. But overall, he's looked a lot better in the receiving game, but that play just didn't help out. I mean, the best player on Illinois right now overall and has been the most consistent is Blake Hayes, their punter. He boots the ball at least 40 yards every time. Chase McLaughlin narrowly missed a 54-yarder. I mean, it hit the post. He's been fine too, but Blake Hayes is the best player for Illinois right now through and through.
Tiger just got cleared for full golf activities.
Oh, okay. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Tiger Woods getting full golf activities. That's exciting. Yeah, full golf activities.
I mean, I'm on Tiger now, but yeah,
Because it's so much happier to think about that than this.
No,
like,
it's not.
it's so depressing to
not.
think about
I wish
this.
it was, but I don't think it is. Anyway, yeah, it's got to be Blake Hayes. I think there could have been an argument for Epstein, but obviously with him being hurt and everything, that's not really the place to go right now with it. Smalling's obviously got his flashes. Some guys have made flashes. Isaiah Gay, I guess, Roundtree have both been solid, but after a week like this where we gave up that much rushing to a team that should not have beaten us by that much, I think it's tough to really give them too much praise right now.
Yeah, we'll have to see as you're listening to Illini Drive here on WPGU 107.1, brought to you by the Illinois Fighting Illini. For tickets and info on the Illini, visit fightingillini.com or call 1-866-ILLINI-1. Let's shift to basketball, because while we are excited for basketball season, things have not been going tremendous for basketball right now when it comes to the recruiting. Tommy, a columnist for the Daily Illini for basketball, 2 more recruits who Illinois were going after, both not coming here. So that's 4 guys within around a 3-week span that Brad Underwood has lost in the recruiting class.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It doesn't look good, doesn't sound good when you say it like that. But again, at the same time, it's a first-year staff. You almost want to kind of look at it with the guys like Smith and the re-signing of guys like Trent Frazier and everybody as their first class, because Underwood did secure that. That wouldn't have happened with every coach necessarily. And getting a guy like Smith, I mean, because that was more his recruitment than Gross than anything.
Yeah.
I mean, that was huge. So I don't know. I mean, it's tough to really get too upset about a guy like Landers leaving, because he was back and forth all over the place. Some people were questioning even if we really did want to get him after everything that he did. And then with Valtonen, that one kind of hurts a little more just because when he was kind of giving his reasonings to why he went to ASU, he kind of talked about a lot of things that should have went in Illinois' favor, saying, oh, it's a fast-paced offense, oh, they like to use all these guards, which is something Underwood definitely does do. And, I mean, a guy like that coming from overseas, I guess it's kind of tough, especially for him going to a first-year program. But, I mean, I don't know. The staff gave their due diligence. They've done what they should be doing, and they're doing a good job with it. It's just a matter of landing that first guy, and hopefully with Io visiting this week, people are talking about a commitment from him as soon as the 23rd, if not sooner. So it looks good right now for Illinois with him.
Yeah,
and then
Desanmu visiting, yeah.
Right. I mean, it was a big visit. I know one quote that really got me excited was he was talking about how he really got along with all like the freshmen, and he was saying that Mark Smith was really in his ear saying, oh, I really want to play with you, man. And Smith said to him that if you come here, we will be the best backcourt in the country. And just like thinking about that got me really excited.
That does
for
get you excited. Yeah, he tweeted out, his mom tweeted out, they said they had a great weekend. They did not the best football game to show a basketball recruit if you want them to come to your school, but I think he had a pretty positive visit here. It's between Illinois and Wake Forest. But to be fair, the 4 guys that Illinois lost, probably 3 of them, Illinois wasn't even the favorite to get them.
Right.
Valtonen, Illinois had a chance there, but it's also just tough to see that a couple of those guys visited Illinois, and then the next day they go and pick a different school.
Yeah, with a lot of them, especially guys like Condit and Landers too. There was a lot of there was a time for a while when, and even Castleton, when you think about it, there was times with all those where it looked like, okay, it's Illinois' game, it's theirs to lose. And again, I mean, I said it before, I'll say it again. The staff, I think they did everything they could have really to land those guys. But, I mean, with Castleton, a guy like Beeline, more established program. They have a lot of guys. He can easily say, look at DJ Wilson. I just had him. You're going to be just like him. He was a first rounder last year. He's ready to make an impact in the NBA. That Castleton loved that. And I mean, guys like him, that makes it tougher. Landers, like I said, he was all over the place. I don't really think he ever really knew what he wanted to do until it came down to that list last week. And I mean, to even make that final three after, he kind of wasn't really even talked about for a long time for us. So I mean, to make it that far was still pretty impressive. Let's see, Condit. I mean, the dad's ties with Iowa State. You mentioned that.
Yeah.
But I mean, Io, he's the one that's kind of been in since the day that Underwood stepped on this campus. He's always said, Io's my guy. Like, this is my priority. He made contact super early. They've done everything they can. And really, I think at this point, even if we don't get him, which we should, I hope to God we do. But I don't know. If we don't get Io, I think it's fair for people start freaking out. But at the same time, it is still his first class. It's really hard to get that before you really even prove anything with your team and within your system.
I mean, in a general sense, too, it's only October. Like, Mark Smith committed to
There's still
Illinois in
spring.
April.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
like, there's a lot of basketball
There's
he
still
played. And
plenty of time.
when we were at that press conference on Wednesday,
Right.
I mean, one of the things that Underwood talked about is, like, there's not much really he can show recruits at this
Exactly.
point. It just film from his previous
selling a
stops.
dream right now.
Exactly. That was the line he used. And
Yeah, once they get games in, then start to maybe.
It's always good to get like a win though. Like if they get Io, like that's a pretty big win to start and then get that ball rolling.
Yeah, I think that it's been interesting, Illinois basketball, since Brad Underwood's been hired. You know, at the end of the last spring semester and like through March all the way through May, you saw all the big recruiting news with getting Mark Smith and getting Mark Allstork as a transfer and Vessel coming to Illinois. Then we've kind of seen this a little bit of a rough patch with losing Castleton and Condit. But Io visiting, I think things are going to go on the up. And once they start playing games against what really is a weak non-conference schedule, Illinois basketball is going to start rising a little bit more in terms of news.
I think that they have a good chance to go 11-1 in those non-conference games. I think they should if they really want a good shot at the tournament.
Who's the one loss?
I don't know necessarily who it
Missouri?
would be. I guess it would be Mizzou. Probably is the most easy one to say, because Kevin Porter Jr. is sweet. And
I'll cry.
again, as
I'll
much as
cry.
I really don't want that to happen, and I honestly don't think they will, because Tillman's really overrated. I don't think he's going to be ready to
Yeah,
make
but
that
they
big
do
of an
have the best
impact.
player
Right,
in
no,
the
Porter's going to
country.
be sweet, and there's no denying that. But outside of him,
It'll be a
I think
great
we'll be a
game.
lot deeper of a team than them. And obviously he's a guy that probably will be able to take over a game and win it by himself. But I don't know. It'll definitely be a good one. But in terms of recruiting, too, we were kind of staying on that. Taylor Horton Tucker announced he'll be visiting soon, too.
Yep.
To even get that visit was huge with kind of the recent momentum for him going towards Iowa State. But I think if we have a good shot at Tucker, I do think we're going to get Io. We get Io and Tucker for your fall signing class for your first year. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, a lot of Illini news flowing around as football season has reached its midpoint. Basketball is getting closer and closer. But we're going to take a quick break here from Illini Drive. When we come back, we'll hear a quick Illini weekend recap for the results of other sports, and we'll talk more postseason baseball as we've seen some very interesting championship series games. All that and more when we return to Illini Drive right here on WPGU 107.1.
You're watching Illini Drive on Urbana Public Television. Tune in Monday nights at 6 p.m. to listen live on WPGU 107.1.
Back here to Illini Drive on WPGU 107.1. Ori Benatar back with Will Gerard, Jay Kassan, Tommy Polson, and Jade Hilton. Before we move on to talk some MLB postseason, let's hear from Matthew Goldstein for a quick Illini weekend recap.
Good evening. I am Matthew Goldstein. Time for another edition of the Illini Weekend Recap. Volleyball got the weekend started off with a straight set win over Ohio State. Junior Allie Bastianelli and freshman Megan Cooley each led the team with 11 kills. The Illini continued their momentum, winning their third straight with another straight set victory over Maryland on Saturday. Redshirt sophomore Beth Prince pitched in with 14 kills, while Bastianelli put in 14 to put the Illini at 15-4 this season. Illini soccer suffered 2 losses over the weekend to Wisconsin and Minnesota. On Friday, sophomore goalkeeper Jalen Cunningham made 3 saves against the Badgers on Thursday. They lost 1-0 in a hard-fought battle against Wisconsin, followed by a 4-0 loss to number 23 Minnesota on Senior Day. Women's cross country had a 6th-place finish on Friday at the Ed Nuttycombe Invite on Friday in the 6K run. Freshman Rebecca Craddock led the Illini with the 15th place finish with a time of 21 minutes and 31 seconds. Illinois ended Friday with a 6th place finish overall. Colorado took first in Madison. Finally, men's cross country had a 28th place finish while in Madison. Sophomore John Davis finished in 8th with a time of 23 minutes and 51 seconds. Defending national champions Northern Arizona finished first. That is your Illini Weekend Recap. I am Matthew Goldstein, Daily Illini Sports.
Back to Illini Drive. Thank you, Matthew, there for that weekend recap. A lot of interesting results for Illini sports. Volleyball in particular doing really well. We'll talk a little bit about them later. But let's go to baseball now because playoffs are going on. Cubs and the Yankees both down 2-0, so none of us in here are very happy about that. Tough loss
Speak for yourself.
Oh, yeah, local Astros fan here. Jake Hassan changing his Twitter name to local Astros fan because he just wants to be a jerk about
I
this
just
whole
ordered an
thing.
Altuve jersey, so I think I might be with him.
Oh God! I mean, I only
How
want.
do you not like that team?
I like that team when they will play the Dodgers in the World Series.
Stop it.
Possibly.
Stop your mouth.
Possibly. I will stop my mouth. Well, there goes the rest of the show. Anyways,
that had to be censored.
Yeah, I'm like, I can't remember. I'm
was
not
some
mad
good
at you,
on-the-fly
Jake, just because,
censoring.
like, as a baseball, you love baseball so much, and, like, when your team's not in the playoffs, you gotta do something to kind of get into it, because I know, like, back in the day, like, when the Cardinals would always play against the Giants in the playoffs, I'd, like, show up to school in, like, my Giants jersey just to, like, rub everyone the wrong way.
you have a Giants jersey?
I do, yeah, I have a Buster
hate
Posey
that.
jersey.
Oh.
You're the worst kind of person, Will Gerard.
Ouch. That hurts.
Why do you do that? Why do you like the misery?
Because Cardinals fans are, like, really...
See, I hate the Cardinals.
They were really, like,
Okay, that's fair. I would do it
back
to
in
the
the day.
I would do it to the Cardinals.
I would never wear a
That's fair.
jersey.
I'm sorry. I take it back. I redact my statement. You're a great guy, Will.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cardinals are the worst.
I would never wear a
I
jersey,
agree. I'm a
but
Cardinals fan. I agree. They're the worst.
if the Boston Red Sox were ever in the playoffs and the Yankees weren't, I'd like when the Cardinals played the Red Sox in 2004 and 2013. I was the biggest Cardinals fan. I just want to see Boston lose.
Oh, that 2013 hurt.
Yeah, that
one-
wasn't.
that one hurt.
I wish you guys won in 2013. I don't think Boston deserved it. But let's talk about the present. Tough loss for the Cubs last night against the Dodgers. Justin Turner hitting that walk-off homer in the 9th inning. Bottom line, for me, what's happening with the Cubs, besides the fact that the middle of the lineup can't hit anything, Joe Madden is throwing the playoffs, it seems, with his managerial decisions.
Joe, I've always believed this about Joe Madden. Good clubhouse guy, like good leader of men, but not a good in-game manager. It's
Yeah.
just like not. He lacks in that department, and
Speaking
arguably the
of-
most important.
Speaking of lack,
lacking,
yeah.
leaving
gonna
leaving
throw up.
John Lackey in that game,
Putting
even
him in.
even having him in the first place was. I mean, that's a fireable. I mean, why we were talking about it off air. Dunsing could have stayed in that game.
Dunsing looked great.
Edwards could have stayed in that
Dunsing
game.
had 5 outs to that point, and he was cruising.
Yeah,
He
he's a
had-
former starter. He could have
like,
kept going.
I think that the worst case with Dunsing, he gives up a single or walks Turner. He's not going to give up a dinger like Lackey.
I mean, Lackey
literally
put it
the
right down the
second-
pipe for
The
him.
second that I saw Lackey warming up, and I said, if John Lackey comes in this game, we're done. We're not going to win this game. You give him a clean inning, I'll give him a chance. He's okay. He's not the worst. He's not our worst option. But, like, with 2 guys on, or 1 guy on, 2 guys at that point. 2 guys on. It was a
Yeah, it
3-run
was
home
3-run
run.
home run.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense to me because, and especially after he walks the guy too, Joe Madden just looks like lost out there. Like I feel like he almost doesn't know who he has to throw right now.
Well,
At
we
this point.
saw it in the World Series last year. Tito Francona managed circles around Joe Madden in the World Series last year,
And they
it-
still lost.
And it's still, and arguably Dusty Baker outmanaged him in the in the division series.
That's
which is,
saying something.
Which is saying something. Like,
Yeah, and I mean-
it's just bit. And I get it. I get part of the thinking is Lackey came in we just said 2013. Lackey came out of the pen in that series for the Red Sox, but also that was like prime Lackey, like
Right,
what
that
4
was-
years ago when he was coming off a 3.52 ERA that season, a full run higher this season, 4 years later.
right. And like the thing is, like he was probably one of the better pitchers in the overall rotation that season.
Yes, he was.
Like this, he's not. He's clearly not in the starting rotation for a reason. And the fact that we have, I can understand not bringing in Wade Davis because I can see the argument that. Look, if you're on the road and you score, you want him to come in to close the game. You don't want to have another option to bring somebody back out there. But I don't understand why you, 1, either wouldn't leave Dunsing in, 2, I think Davis has to be an option. Edwards already threw, but I mean, I would rather see Justin Wilson, who was horrible.
Or Montgomery.
I'd argue having Davis, like keeping Davis in the pen, kind of shows a lack of urgency, though, because it's like that. Those are the outs you need. There, those are high leverage outs. Don't you want your best guy on the mound?
and
You put
especially
Davis
with-
in for that
especially-
one out.
No, let's keep him in for Bellinger and the rest of the middle of the lineup.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
after he takes out Dunsing, put Wade Davis in, get that out, and then if it goes long in extras, you have Lackey in the 10th,
I mean,
and
Wade
he can
Davis
pitch
could
5
get 4
innings.
outs.
Well,
Wade Davis could get
he was
6
saying,
outs.
but the thing too is Madden was saying he had a strict 1 inning limit yesterday, which I understand. He threw a lot the last, especially in the last Washington game. So I mean, I don't totally agree with not bringing Davis there, but I can see why that might not be what he wanted to do in that situation. But you can't bring in a starter who's old, that probably could very well be the last pitch he ever throws in the MLB. It should be. I hope to God it is.
He's probably retiring. I mean,
Yeah.
you could even argue for putting in Montgomery or Wilson. Like you said,
I would
Wilson's
much rather
Wilson's a
Montgomery.
former
Much rather
closer.
Wilson.
Montgomery's been in big spots. The World
Montgomery
Series
got the
last
last out
year.
of the
Yeah.
World Series
Which
for us.
reliever got taken out for Rondon? I thought it was Wilson.
No, Wilson wasn't in the game.
No, it had to be either.
Rondon
it had to
came
be,
in after
It had to be
Edwards,
either
I believe.
Strope.
Well, Rondon was
He came in
added.
after Strope. That's
Okay.
It
what
had to be Strope or Dunsing. Yeah. So I mean, Joe Madden's just not a good game manager. I don't think, and I don't think he is even. Yeah, bullpen rotation. I mean, I just don't think he's ever. I think he gets a lot of credit for he does these zany like road trip themes and all this stuff, and people give him a lot of credit for that. And I mean, he's done it with the Rays too. He took a young team to the World Series and got them a lot of credibility. But outside of that, in game, he's average at best.
I mean, I'm as big of a Joe Madden fan as any, but right now, I just don't even know what he's thinking because like. There's no logic that I can come up with in my mind that leads to, okay, there's 2 outs in the 9th.
Justin Turner.
Need to get 1 out. Justin Turner's coming up. He said he liked the matchup with Taylor, but if that was what you liked, then take him out after that.
Yeah.
He's not suited to pitch to. He's been extremely home run prone this year. Turner's gonna hit a home run against him. Like it's the first thing I thought in my mind when I saw it coming.
He also liked the matchup. Remember of Edwards versus Harper when Harper hit that homer in the division series, which obviously they went on to win, but
And, like, the
still,
thing, too,
I
with-
mean,
obviously Harper killed that ball. I think Edwards, but the thing is, like Edwards still has strikeout stuff. Right
Oh,
now.
yeah.
He probably has the best stuff on our team right now outside of Wade Davis, and so like there's that, and I understand him thinking that, but like Lackey, there's just no argument for him to ever come in this situation.
Yeah.
I agree that he should have been out after Taylor. If you wanted him to go for Taylor, fine, because Taylor's not nearly the hitter. I mean, Justin Turner's the best hitter on the team when Corey Seager's not there. So I mean, it blows my mind. I mean, because Joe Madden just threw that game away.
To be fair, though, the Cubs have 2 really great opportunities to try and even up this series. Back at Wrigley Field for tomorrow, and then the next day, Kyle Hendricks v. Yu Darvish.
2-2-1-1-1.
Yeah, it's 2-2-1-1-1.
I don't think we're gonna lose a game in Wrigley. Is the thing.
Because, I mean, you got Kyle Hendricks against Yu Darvish in Game 3.
I mean, you can.
You can.
You mathematically cannot lose a game at Wrigley.
Yeah.
One.
Because you're down 2-0.
You can lose one, isn't it? Is it not 7?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's-
if you wait,
Yeah.
I heard I processed that.
More
that
math.
wrong in my
One
brain.
game at Wrigley.
Yeah, I processed that wrong.
You
in my
can
brain.
afford to lose 1 game at Wrigley in this 2-game span.
Right.
But I don't think the Cubs will. Because Kyle Hendricks and Yu Darvish, you'd probably say Hendricks.
I would
Alex
say
Wood v.
Hendricks.
Jake Arrieta. Jake Arrieta at home.
Darvish can show up though.
He can show up.
If Darvish shows up,
But it's about the
Hendricks has
hitting.
been great, though.
It's about the
Yeah.
hitting, though, at the end of the day. And the Cubs bullpen needs to do something.
I also do not see the LA lineup matching up well with Hendricks. I think they're very similar.
No, Hendricks
in
will pitch
lot
a
of
great game.
aspects to what Nationals like kind of were in that first game against him. They haven't seen a guy like this recently. I don't think, at least in my memory.
and the Dodgers are a big fly ball team,
Right.
which isn't going to play well. So.
Yeah, Hendricks is going to get a lot of sinker ground balls. It's just going to be a nice little. I need Addison Russell to be on his
I mean,
A
he
game.
can't make a mistake. If Hendricks leaves a pitch up, Turner,
Right.
Bellinger, anyone on that team is just going to take it deep. I mean,
Yeah. The hitters, though, I mean, Chris Bryant needs to get some hits. Anthony Rizzo needs to get back to the
Yeah.
beginning of the DS form.
Chris was encouraging yesterday. He made a lot more contact, and like there was some good contact. Like in that first inning, I very well thought that ball could have gotten out, but I mean, he's still got to limit the strikeout. It's been way too much.
And so many of the Cubs players are also just swinging wildly. I mean, Contreras.
Wilson Contreras had the worst at bat I've ever seen.
Javier Baez was swinging wildly.
But when you know have guys that'll swing at stuff, I mean, you can pitch around them. You could pitch circles around them. Those kind of hitters.
Speaking of swinging wildly, the New York Yankees, who are also down by 2 games, 2-2-1 losses to the Houston Astros. 2 decent starts from the Yankees starting pitchers, but the Astros starts from Keuchel and Verlander is pretty much.
Verlander was spectacular.
I mean, 23 combined strikeouts between the Astros' 2 starters in the first 2 games. And the Yankees just can't buy a hit, can't buy runs. I mean, God, Gary Sanchez. You hate Justin Turner? I hate Gary Sanchez right now. And Jose Altuve. I can't stand Jose Altuve.
You hate your own player?
I don't hate my own player.
I hate John Lackey. That's fair.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not a fan of Sanchez right now because he bobbled up.
At least Sanchez is young and is going to do a lot of good things for the team in the future. But I mean, John Lackey's done. I mean, that's John Lackey's lasting image for the rest of his career.
Every time I see John Lackey throwing a baseball right now, I want to throw up.
But my God, Altuve and Correa are just so infuriating to watch as a Yankee fan right now because Bregman too,
Springer,
and Marwin Gonzalez, who was a utility player.
Altuve and Correa are gonna have like a 750 average combined in this series. Like they're not
stupid good.
I mean, Jose Altuve has like what, a 570 playoff average.
So, yeah,
I mean,
like he might hit 600 by the time the Astros
average
could get to the World Series. But Yankees play tonight. CC Sabathia on the mound against Charlie Morton. I think this is a great opportunity for the Yankees to actually get a win.
You have to get some more.
Everyone's saying the Yankees are down 2-0 against Cleveland. I'm like, but this is a 7-game series. It's a completely different than Cleveland. Houston is going to throw Keuchel and Verlander again if the Yankees are able to tie the series
and that's the thing
or not
too.
Go down 3-0.
The Indians' star imploded on the mound. Corey Kluber.
Yeah, we
imploded.
got to Kluber twice.
Meanwhile, Keuchel and Verlander were lights out
Oh, God,
in both
Verlander.
their starts. Verlander was so good.
Oh God, Verlander pitched
had
so
one of the best
well.
games I've seen in recent.
It was
pitching
art.
history.
It was art. You can. I mean, you could say that was the most beautiful thing.
I think the
world.
Yankees will win tonight, though.
I really hope so.
I think they will. Wow, the over/under is set at 9 runs.
Yeah, it's
That's
not
absurd.
the last time
Well,
the
in
Yankees.
Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, but the last time the Yankees hosted the Astros in the playoffs, it was the wild card game 2 years ago, and Tanaka gave up 2 homers, lost 3-0. Yankees bats didn't show up, and just like the Cubs, Brian and Rizzo not getting hits in the NLCS. The Yankees, their main guys, are not getting hits either. Aaron Judge has been terrible in the
I
playoffs.
was about to say, I'm surprised they're still hitting Judge 2 tonight.
They should hit him.
I like their lineup, honestly, outside of him at 2. I don't get why they wouldn't switch up him and like Greg Bird or something.
They should start switching him up.
Greg Bird.
Starlin
Greg Bird being
Starlin-
6th is a little questionable. He should definitely be 5th at the
He is
lowest.
5 right now.
I would have moved Judge down to 5 or 6. Put
Give
Bird
Castro
up
at
hitting
6.
2nd or something. Gary Sanchez hasn't gotten a hit in the series. Also, our DHs don't pop up. Matt Holliday didn't pop up when he played. Chase Headley has not popped up at all. Todd Frazier's starting to pick it up a little bit, but no one's being. Didi also having a really
Matt
bad
Holliday
series.
definitely needs to be playing over Chase
Didi's won
Headley.
for 8 in this series.
Didi's 1 for 8 in the series. I mean, the only guys with 2 hits in the series are Gardner, Bird, and Castro. That's it. And they're both 2 for 7.
Shout out Starlin Castro. I love that man. I hope he gets.
He never got a fair shake in Chicago.
No,
Like,
he
he was
really
always
didn't.
like
I really hope he gets to wear a Cubs jersey again someday.
Maybe when he's 35 or 36. I think he's going to stay with the Yankees for a while, though.
Yeah, I love Starlin. I hope that he gets a win tonight. I hope you guys beat the Astros.
Yeah, I really hope we do too. Because if we're down 3-0, it's pretty much over. The only time again.
I
that
feel good about the Yankees tonight. I think they'll win.
We'll see.
CC has been good.
3-0 leads, Ori.
I was about to say the only team to blow a 3-0 lead in baseball history was the Yankees in 04. The worst sporting moment of my lifetime.
That's kind of sad because that was one of the better sporting moments of my entire childhood. So I feel for you.
We're gonna go to
It's
break
all right.
now.
You're a Yankees fan. Your team always wins.
We're gonna go to break now, and
Well, it's been 8 years, so
Yeah, it's been a while since we've won a World Series.
Poor New York.
Not enough
8
championships.
years.
8 years is a long time,
Oh,
and I won a
no.
championship.
I mean, the only time the Yankees really weren't competitive though for that, weren't in it. Even arguably they were.
last year,
I mean, Gary Sanchez put them in it in August. So I mean,
I
really,
think 2013 and 2014 was the first time in my life that the Yankees did make the playoffs in 2 consecutive years.
yeah.
That's like the Blackhawks for me. I'm so spoiled with them. Like
You have to be. I mean, you're a Yankee fan. You're spoiled with baseball. That's just how it works. But I'm not that spoiled because I only really remember 1 championship. I have the same amount of titles as Jake actually has the most that he probably remembers because 06 and 2011. Jay doesn't have any titles because Toronto hasn't been able to win anything. You guys have a
They will
Cubs,
continue to- I
and
feel
I'm
like
I
they're
don't
gonna lose everybody.
and I don't remember the 4 World Series the
Leafs
Yankees
look-
won when I was. an
Oh,
infant.
true. I was talking about the Blue Jays specifically, though.
Yeah, no, they're bad.
We're going to go and take our break now. When we come back, we'll get a score update from Jade, and then we'll have our final thoughts when we return to Illini Drive here on WPGU 107.1.
You're watching Illini Drive on Urbana Public Television. Tune in Monday nights at 6 p.m. to listen live on WPGU 107.1.
Welcome back to Illini Drive. Here is your score update. In baseball, the Chicago Cubs fell to the LA Dodgers 4-1 yesterday. They play Game 3 tomorrow at 8 p.m. The Dodgers lead the series 2-0. The New York Yankees begin Game 3 against the Houston Astros tonight at 7 p.m. The Astros lead the series 2-0. And in hockey, the Chicago Blackhawks face the St. Louis Blues on Wednesday.
Thank you, Jade. Yeah, baseball, hockey, basketball starting soon. All going to be fun stuff
I'm
indeed.
so excited for basketball season. I can't wait.
I can't wait either, and I'm barely going to watch any of the games tomorrow or even tonight because, midterms
I
are
don't really
always
care
fun.
about the NBA. I thought we were talking college.
College, too, I'm pumped about, but I'm excited for the NBA. We're going to begin our final thoughts segment. Let's start with Jake since he's going golf.
Sure. So Tiger is back. As we mentioned earlier, fully cleared for golf activities. He's been posting videos, just taking full swings, taking some hacks. Started with a putter a couple weeks ago, then up to a wedge. Got the driver out on Sunday wearing the red. It was awesome. I'm just so, a golf world with Tiger Woods is so much better than without him. He's just got it. He's just got it.
Do you think he's actually back though? I really hope I hope to God he is because I love Tiger.
See, now that's
It's
when
just I've been let down so many times.
Yeah, when you
by him
ask
now.
that, that's when it gets real. 'Cause, in my head and in the off season, it's easy to say it, but realistically, I'm not kind of there yet because we've had
really
3
hope he is.
comebacks
Yeah,
so
that's what I'm
far.
saying. There's
There's-
been so many comebacks.
There is no way he wins another major. I just don't see
I think he
it
gets
happening.
one. I think
I
he gets
hope he does.
one.
I hope he
I
does.
hope he does,
He gets
but
one
he
more
does-
Masters.
That'd be really cool.
But
I would love
if
that.
he's fully healthy and playing, he's got to play against Spieth and Day in their prime. Dustin Johnson. That's it.
Fowler.
Yeah.
DJ,
How is Tiger going to win a major
Yeah,
against
him
those
and
guys?
DJ in a pairing would be so.
Is
fun
he going to pull
watch.
off a Jack Nicklaus in '86 winning the Masters when he's
I
40
I
something?
think he gets one more
It'd be
Masters.
really, really cool.
That'd be
I would
really
love
cool.
To see him do it because Tiger's awesome.
Yeah.
We grew up on Tiger. Tiger's
Same.
the best.
He's awesome as a golfer, as a husband, not so much.
Come on, why you got to bring it there?
Yeah, why you gotta make it real?
just
Again,
saying-
comeback- it's
well,
comeback
I'm just
season. Yeah, why you gotta
saying-
make it real?
Because it is real. That's how it works.
comeback season,
You have
baby.
to be realistic. Speaking of realistic, we'll go to Tommy's final thought. The Fighting Irish realistically could get maybe into the playoff. Maybe.
I'm telling you, man. You guys laughed at me when I said it. Right
We're always gonna laugh at you about Notre Dame, just like you guys
You
laughed about me
can,
about
that's
Ohio
fair.
and all the other stuff.
But
Yeah.
if you look at the rest of their schedule, they're up to number 13 now. They're 5-1. They've got USC this weekend. It's gonna be an awesome game at Notre Dame. Currently favored by 4. But so look at the rest of their schedule. They're playing number 11 USC, number 16 NC State. Wake Forest is 5-1. They're pretty good. They're not ranked, but they're good. At Miami in Florida, which is their toughest challenge left, I think. But I think it's very winnable. I think Miami's kind of getting a little boost by being
Miami's
Miami.
8 too.
Yeah, right. Miami's number 8, and I do think they're kind of boosted by being Miami.
Yeah.
And everybody wants Miami to be back. Then they've got Navy, who's still undefeated, and Stanford, and then finishing at Stanford, who's currently number 22. So, say they win out, it's a lock. There's no chance. You cannot tell me that they're with one loss coming to Georgia, who's now number 3.
They got to beat Miami.
They gotta beat
that's it.
Miami.
Gotta beat
That's
Miami,
it.
but Miami will probably lose before that game. I would not.
I
be
also
surprised
would
the way
think
the
Miami
season's
would win
going.
before then. So, I just think that, Wimbush didn't even play last week. We still put up 33 points. Josh Adams should be in the Heisman contention. His numbers are better than Saquon Barkley. He's averaging nearly 10 yards a carry, and he hasn't played a second half in 3 weeks because they've been beating teams that bad.
Yeah. And they have, I searched Notre Dame football. I got a server error. We're sorry. It appears there's been an internal server error. What's happening there? Maybe Notre Dame has an error.
49-16, lost 20-19 to Georgia, which is tough. Won 49-20, 38-18, 52-17, 33-10. Josh Adams, let's see, I don't know if I can pull all his numbers right now, but he has 86 carries for 776 yards, 5 touchdowns so far, and he hasn't played a second half in 3 weeks.
Wait, that's 6 games?
Yes.
That's almost as much as Kendrick had all season.
That's what I'm saying.
Wow.
And he has probably only played
But come on, they're
Maybe.
playing. Who'd they play? Like Temple and Boston College, right?
They beat Temple 49-16. Boston College, they wrecked.
Well, yeah.
They handily beat Michigan State, who's now ranked again.
They only lost by 1 to Georgia.
That's what I'm saying. Georgia's number 3 in the country, and they lost by 1. People are like, oh, Georgia. At the
I
time,
can't wait for that Georgia-Bama
At the
game.
time, that loss kind of hurt a little bit more because they're only 15, and it was like, okay, maybe they aren't that good. But, I mean, now looking at it again now that Georgia's up to number 3 in the poll, like, it's a good It's a good loss to have.
Well, because of the crazy weekend, 4 top 10s went down, and 2 of them
Exactly.
went down on Friday
And
night.
I mean, with 1, 2, 3, 4 ranked opponents left, that would be 6 ranked wins on the year.
Strength of schedule goes up. It's
mean-
possible.
I think it looks good. I feel really good sitting over here right now
Yeah.
with where they're at.
It's very possible indeed. As we're going to move over to our producer, Will. Talked a little bit about the Cubs, but I mean, you're pumped for NBA season. Tell me what you're most excited about besides watching the Bulls tank.
Okay, well, for one, I'm not excited about watching the Bulls tank, but I don't know. I like.
What about
just-
Baby Dirk?
I'm not sold on him either.
AKA Lowry Mark.
But the thing about the NBA is there's always just so many storylines. I can't wait
this
for it. I think,
year, though.
And I think
Yeah.
what I'm actually kind of looking forward to is that, like there's so much star power in the NBA, so I'm kind of looking to see kind of what these guys, how they handle a lot of current issues that are going on. Do we see any players kneel during the anthem? I mean, that's worth noting. I mean, it's always exciting the way that the NBA is played nowadays. There's so many points scored. The Celtics are a real squad, a real contender, someone that can actually give the Cavs a run for their money in the Eastern Conference Finals. So I think it'll be a really strong year for the NBA. I'm looking forward to all the highlights. And Cubs in 6, by the way.
Cubs in 6.
Yeah, Cubs and 6 from you guys. I mean,
Dodgers in 5.
Golden State, Cleveland's obvious. I mean, there's no point in asking who you think is going to win the NBA championship, but which team that's up and coming that got a lot of stars do you think could contend with either side that can give them a run for their money?
I mean, outside the Celtics, it'd probably have to be someone out west, I guess. I mean, Houston now they have Chris Paul. I think that makes them a lot better team. The Spurs are always the squad to contend with. I'm also looking forward to see how Brandon Paul plays this year and if he actually gets any minutes for the Spurs.
Brandon Paul and the Spurs.
It's Popovich. He'll get minutes.
I think he'll get some time.
I mean, he's got the Kawhi dreads
Yeah.
going right now. So
they
the
might get
cornrows.
confused.
So maybe
Pop's pretty old.
Yeah,
His
exactly.
vision might not
He'll be
be
like,
there
"Oh,
right
is
now."
that Kawhi or
No, get in there.
BP3?
Like,
I don't
just
know.
give him a
Yeah,
little
just get it
tap.
again.
Like,
Exactly. I'm thinking,
Who's this guy over there?
there's got to be something. There's something secret about the cornrows that makes you an elite basketball player.
I like
But
it.
Yeah, no one.
I'm also excited to see Lonzo in LA. I want to see if he hit his rookie campaign. I'm all about big baller brand.
I'm not a fan of the whole baller brand and LeVar and that whole thing, but I am excited to see Lonzo play on Thursday
I've
against
got
the
my
Clippers.
fantasy draft tonight, and I think Lonzo might be a perfect.
I might
pick
no,
for me.
the rookie I'm picking in fantasy, I would pick Dennis Smith Jr.
Smith is gonna be really good.
He can.
Besides him,
He's gonna be very, very good.
And the 76ers are going to be stacked this year too.
76ers are
Finally,
gonna
after
be
all those
sick,
years
yeah.
of trusting the process,
I need Dario Saric. I need Embiid.
A full
I might
year of
just draft the
Embiid?
whole
That
Wait,
could
can we
be-
talk about
he could put up
Markel Fultz
incredible
like
numbers.
free throw form though? It's so bad.
Oh, yeah,
It looks like he's dislocating his shoulders.
I think he's messing up his stroke
probably
just from
is
doing
doing
that.
that.
Yeah, it's a little bit concerning.
will see that.
They still have other shooters on that team. They have JJ to space the floor.
JJ spacing the floor. I'm excited also for TJ Leaf, second Israeli in the NBA. His dad played in Israel. I'm excited to see him in Indiana. I think the Pacers are going to be a fun team to watch with Oladipo and Miles
LeVar
Turner.
wasn't a big fan of Leaf.
I know he wasn't a fan of him, but I liked
Is he a
him.
fan
What do
of
you guys think
anyone?
about Paul George and OKC? You think him and Russ?
Oh, him
are
and
gonna-
Mello
it's
and
gonna be really
Russ
Melo.
is going to be cool as heck. It's
gonna be
going
really
to be
cool.
awesome.
Melo.
I hope
looked-
Mello shows up this year.
Hoodie Mello.
No, in the
He's staying mellow.
preseason, Melo looked more motivated than he has in like 6 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably the most
He's actually
I
motivated
think he
he's
he's
been
said
here.
that too. I think
he
he said
knows
like
he's-
I'm actually motivated.
He looks
this
like he's
year.
in better shape than he
When's
was
the
in
last
New
time
York.
he was on a winning team? Is the thing.
Jeremy Lin.
Well, yeah, like
Had
20,
Jeremy Lin, yeah.
2012
13.
Knicks, and then like you had the 2010
He's had
Nuggets.
4 years of brutal Knicks basketball. Like,
Yep.
To be on a team with Russ and Paul George is going to be great for him.
Yeah, and that's kind of where my final thought leads into. I wanted to talk a little bit about the NBA. I mean, for a Cleveland sports fan, you don't have to. The Indians are out. The Browns are ridiculously awful again.
Miles Garrett. though.
Wait, who thought that starting Kevin Hogan over Deshaun Kaiser
was
would be a
that?
good
Who-
idea?
Wait, no.
Come
no.
on.
Who thought that passing on Deshaun Watson twice was a good idea? Who thought drafting Johnny Manziel and Brandon Whedon was a good idea? That's all I'm saying.
The Browns.
Laughing stock. But Cavs basketball is going to be back.
At least you're not the Jets.
They just announced
Dude, the
today.
Jets
Yeah,
almost
I know.
beat the Pats.
I know, but the
but
Jets
the
are
way
doing
they
a.
lost is
The Jets are
miserable.
bad at tanking. At least the Browns know how to tank. Cavs Celtics are opening up tomorrow. they did announce they're going to do a tribute video for Kyrie, which I am a fan of because he deserves it. Because without him, we would not have beaten the Warriors in
When did he get
2016.
drafted? 2000?
Kyrie, 2011.
Yeah, 2011.
And Isaiah Thomas was the last pick in that draft, and they got traded for each other, which is crazy.
I saw a picture today of LeBron shooting and Isaiah standing behind him, and someone goes, "Oh, that's nice, LeBron Jr. 08." It was so funny.
That is funny. Yeah, I'm excited for NBA basketball. I think it's going to be a really fun season. Every team has their own little storyline going in. A lot of interesting moves and players. Cavs, Celtics opening up. Kyrie back in
Except for the
Cleveland.
Bulls.
Yeah, but the Bulls.
Justin Holiday is going to be the
you know
best
what?
player on that team.
But
It's
I'm
gonna be
interested
so
to see
sad.
how Laurie plays if he is a Dirk 2.0.
Laurie's pretty cool.
How Zach LaVine plays as maybe the best player on the team overall.
Except Zach LaVine, they
Oof,
couldn't get a
that hurts.
contract extension with him, and now he's going to be a restricted free agent, which
Yeah.
will obviously match whatever deal he gets. But
I mean, we'll see. And if
Sweet.
it's all about getting that number one pick, and the Bulls having that decision between Doncic and Bagley and Porter and all that. But I think
I don't even want Porter,
I
Mizzou. I don't even want him.
either way,
I hope Denzel Valentine actually sees the floor for
yeah,
the Bulls.
Valentine might get some minutes, but it doesn't matter because the Cavs are going to win the East. The Warriors are going to win the West. But I legitimately think though that the Cavs can maybe beat the Warriors in the finals. I have belief. I do have belief. Our roster is better than it was last year.
You
Even
can't
with the
count
Kyrie
out any
trade.
team with LeBron on it.
You can't count out LeBron. D Wade, D Rose are reborn. Isaiah's going to
looks
be there.
sweet.
D Rose
Yeah,
looks
good. He looks
awesome.
good.
I'm really
Jay
jealous.
Crowder is a beast.
I'm
Whose
so
ankles did
jealous
he
you
break
guys
the other
have him.
night?
I don't remember.
He
I don't watch
sent
preseason.
someone to the floor the other
Also,
night.
Calderon looks like
I
he's
hope-
playing well too.
I hope. I'll say this. I hope for Derrick Rose's sake that you guys do very well this year.
Well, we're gonna do very well.
Yeah, I mean
this
that's
year.
regardless.
Derrick
I'm just
Rose
saying,
is
like,
the
I
starting
usually
point
can't- I
guard
usually
till
can't stand
January.
Cleveland, but like, I hope for Derrick Rose's sake that he has a great year and they do well.
I could kind of see Derrick Rose being the starter all year, and Isaiah just coming off the bench.
Isaiah'd be sweet off the bench.
Yeah.
That's what he did in
I can
Phoenix
kinda
most
see
of his
it.
career.
Yeah.
I mean,
And besides the Cavs, the two teams that I really want to throw out there that I think people need to talk about more, Milwaukee.
yep.
Because I think Giannis has a really legitimate chance to win the MVP this year
just
if
gonna
he
say
stays
that.
healthy. And Denver.
I want
People should look at Denver and say this team could finish top 5 in the West
What's the
with
center's name?
Nikola Jokic,
Yes, he's gonna be sweet.
Beast,
Portland.
Paul Millsap, Gary Harris. Portland, they don't have the front court yet. Their back court is really good, but they just don't
They
have
got
the front.
Jokic, right?
Yusuf Nurkic needs to have a breakout year if Portland's going to contract.
Don't
extend
sleep
with
on
him.
our boy Myers.
You got Myers, you got Zach Collins, you got Caleb Swint.
Snubbed us.
You have a lot of options at the big
One
man,
day.
but
We remember.
yeah, you don't have as a I mean, Paul Millsap and Nikola Jokic might be the best passing and overall front court in the league.
Is Paul Millsap
D-
still really that good?
Paul
though?
Millsap is a great passing. That Nuggets offense is going to be really fun to watch. I mean, Nikola Jokic is
Do they still have
beast.
Ty Lawson?
They might still have
No,
Ty Lawson. I
he's
don't
on
think
the
they
Kings,
do though.
I think.
Yeah, he went to
No, he might be
Sacramento.
in Houston.
Might be in
No.
Houston.
Is Gary Harris still in
it's-
Gary
Denver?
Harris is in
or-
Denver, yeah.
Sacramento. He's not in the Nuggets anymore.
I don't know. Houston would be cool.
Also, the New Jerseys. I like a lot of the New Jerseys. That's
I
going
thought
to
you
be
were
cool
going
to
to say
see.
the Nets for a second. I was about to lose my
No,
mind.
no, the Nets are going to be awful.
Hey, Jeremy Lin's about to kill it for the Nets.
D'Angelo Russell in the
I
backcourt
want
with
that
Jeremy
hair.
Lin.
Disgusting.
What is with Jeremy Lin always like? He was
a
like, he had
weirdo.
like the normal, just regular buzz cut, and then just like,
I don't know what
did
happened
he
to him.
have like some weird trip?
He's trying to stay
Like,
relevant.
I think every NBA team was trying to stay relevant. I mean, that was the story of the offseason. Just buy as much as we can to beat Golden State. And that's really what happened. And some teams got...
They're going to be so good.
Golden State's going to be really good. I mean, to be fair,
This might be their best team yet.
they didn't add much, but
What's his name?
They added-
the center from Oregon.
they got Jordan Bell.
Bell's going
Nick
to be
Young.
really good.
But
I
two
think.
really
Young.
good spot-up shooters off the
Swaggy.
bench.
They
Nick
got Swaggy.
Swaggy P and Omri Casper.
I can't wait for Nick Young to drop 30 points during one of the finals
There's
games.
gonna be one game where he just goes off, and it's gonna be unbelievable.
The only thing that'll be tough is if Omri Caspi drops like a 5 or 6 3-point game. That'll be tough for me to watch. He's the first Israeli ever drafted in the NBA. Shout out also to Illini women's volleyball. They are 15-4 now this season. They are now 19th in the country. So take note, everyone. Illini volleyball is playing really, really well as they got 2 home wins this weekend against Ohio State and Maryland. They're going to be playing Iowa and Nebraska this weekend.
Hockey's also 9-0.
Hockey's 8-0.
8-0,
actually.
sorry.
And men's cross country is soon going to be competing in the Big Ten championships in 2 weeks.
I saw Coach Thomas walking down the street the other day, and I was like gonna wave, but then he like kind of looked away, so I ended up doing like one of those like I started to go up for the wave, and then I was
Yeah,
like, nope,
yeah.
not looking at me, and I had to like aggressively like divert my hand back down to a normal fashion, but. It was very, I started sweating.
Great
Like,
story.
I got really bad anxiety from it.
Oh, goodness. Well, it's around that 7 p.m. time mark. Not around. It is that 7 p.m. time mark. So for Jade Hilton, Tommy Polson, Jake Hassan, Will Gerard, I'm Ori Benatar. Thank you for tuning in to this edition of Illini Drive.
Go Astros.
Go Yankees. And to all you people having midterms, good luck with your midterms. Make sure to tune in tomorrow for another edition of Illini Drive right here on WPGU 107.1.